Reception and welcome to Story Time. Today we're going to start reading a brand new chapter book. Our chapter book is called Captain Pug. The blurb on the back of the book says, Pug is going on a seafaring adventure. He's had jam tarts for breakfast. He's wearing a smart sailor suit. There's just one problem. Pug is afraid of water. Oh dear. How can you be a sailor when you're afraid of water? This book is by Laura James and illustrated, remember that means they've drawn the pictures, by Eglantine Selumans. Chapter 1. It was an ordinary morning at number 10, the Crescent, and everyone was busy except Pug and his freckled companion, Lady Miranda, who were still both in bed snoring. Pug lay at the foot of the bed dreaming of jam tarts, whilst Lady Miranda slept soundly, her eye mask firmly in place. There was a gentle knock on the bedroom door. It was Lady Miranda's housekeeper, Wendy, carrying the breakfast tray. Pug wagged his curly tail in greeting, then padded over to where Lady Miranda was sleeping. He put his nose as close to hers as possible and breathed on her. "Oh, Pug," said Lady Miranda, waking up with a start. "Do you have to do that?" "Your breakfast, milady," said Wendy, placing the tray on Lady Miranda's lap and patting Pug on the head. Pug's tummy was rumbling. Wendy had baked them some of her delicious jam tarts. Jam tarts were Pug's favourite breakfast. What does this say? Pug drooled as Lady Miranda lifted her eye mask and inspected the breakfast tray. "What are we doing today, Wendy?" Lady Miranda asked as she broke a jam tart in half and gave Pug a piece. "Today, milady, you have a birthday party at the boating lake," Wendy replied. "I do?" "Yes, milady. You're to play on the pedaloes and then eat ice cream." "Ice cream," thought Pug. "Pedal what?" asked Lady Miranda. "Pedalos, little boats you power yourself by pedalling." Wendy did a helpful mime. Lady Miranda burst out laughing, and a small bit of jam tart fell from her mouth. "Crumbs," thought Pug. "You're so funny, Wendy," said Lady Miranda. "Why's that, dear?" said Wendy. "Because there's no way I'm peddling anything," Lady Miranda replied firmly. If there's pedalling to be done, we shall have to take Running Footman Will and Running Footman Leon." Running Footman Will and Running Footman Leon also worked for Lady Miranda. They did anything that Lady Miranda wanted outside of the house, whilst Wendy did whatever Lady Miranda wanted inside the house. Lady Miranda liked her footmen to look smart. Most people thought their stockings and buckled shoes were old-fashioned and laughed at their long coats and frilly cuffs. But Running Footman Will and Running Footman Leon didn't mind. They liked dressing up. They do look rather old-fashioned, don't they? As soon as Wendy left the room, Lady Miranda leapt out of bed and began to rummage through her very large wardrobe. "That looks like a room, not a wardrobe, doesn't it? Look, what does this say? Pug. That must be the Pug's clothes." "Oh, my Puggykins! A day at the boating lake," she exclaimed happily. "What shall we wear for our seafaring adventure?" Seafaring adventure, thought Pug. He didn't know, but he was sure there was a big difference between a seafaring adventure and a ride in a pedalo. He didn't like to correct her, though. Besides, he was too busy eyeing up the remaining jam tart, which had foolishly been left unattended. He was just about to take a bite of the particularly lonely-looking jam tart when Lady Miranda scooped him up in her arms and looked deep into his large brown eyes. "Pug," she said, "I've found you a nice little sailor suit, and I'm going to make you a captain." Pug gave a little jam tart burp. A captain? Captains were in charge of great big ships and sat away at sea for weeks on end. Pug preferred to stay home. He wasn't sure if he liked water. He always did his best to walk around puddles, and he definitely wasn't a fan of bath time. Most importantly, how could he ever be a captain when he'd never seen the sea? Still, if it was what Lady Miranda wanted, Pug would try his best. He looks very smart, doesn't he? Oh, that's the end of chapter 1. We will read chapter 2 tomorrow and find out what happens to Lady Miranda and Pug. See you really soon. Bye.